This episode of The Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace. Today we find out what's in the box. Ryan Reynolds is Barry.
Today in movies, we're going to talk about Buried, which opens wide tomorrow. Did I say buried or buried?
You said buried.
I just did a little hybrid,
You just said open wide really weird.
Open wide! Buried!
So Buried was a big splash at Sundance this past year. And okay, so here's the deal.
What's the deal?
It opens on Saul Bass-inspired opening title sequence.
Which is different than Lance Bass.
Saul Bass, the guy who did Hitchcock's opening titles. And then we see Ryan Reynolds buried alive in a coffin underground for the next 90 minutes. It doesn't cheat. Yep. We never leave that space. We are inside a coffin with Ryan Reynolds for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think of the quality of this movie,
correct,
it is somewhat of a historical landmark. Like movies like Alfred Hitchcock's Rope, that was all one shot, High Noon, that took place in real time, or Blair Witch Project, that was all found footage and made to believe is real. Or any of the vast one-room thrillers that we've gotten over the past years. Alex?
Yes.
Regardless of all of those, how was the quality?
So it's interesting because I think one thing that has to be said is I think it's a total achievement that I was able to watch this movie and not be bored out of my mind. And I think the things that really made that happen were fantastic filmmaking, great writing, and the best performance I've ever seen of Ryan Reynolds. Because I've been a critic of Ryan Reynolds.
I don't know. That guy couldn't act himself out of a box.
Well, he tried. He tried for 90 minutes. But here's the thing. It's a very tough movie to watch. It's not a movie that I would recommend to a lot of people, especially people that were less girded of their loins. I mean, like you really gotta be.
But you're a little claustrophobic. I was worried about that.
It's a question you always ask everybody you meet. How girded of your loins are you?
So for me, it really was one of those things. And as somebody who can get a little claustrophobic, I was surprised at how not claustrophobic I was. There were a couple moments in this where he tries to do some stuff, and I literally had to be like, stop trying to do that. But overall, it's a surprising film because somebody saying, well, it's Ryan Reynolds in a box for 90 minutes, and I went, you gotta be kidding me, right? That must be some sort of Crow or Death thing. I think. Is it Rain?
I think it's Rain.
I think they just bombed.
Anyway.
Yeah, right,
sand
exactly.
falling in on us.
So anyway, I think it was a great movie, but not for everyone, but great movie.
I think the lack of claustrophobia is a problem. And I agree with you, it's a great trick that somebody pulled that off. And I didn't know going in that was the case. And there were several points early on where I here's the part where we go out and we see all the stuff that led up to this, or here's the part where we go to the guy on the other end of the phone, or whatever it is. And they never do that, and that's to the movie's credit, and it's a great trick to see it pulled off. And it's a tough thing to ask of an actor, and I think he comes through with flying colors. It's a movie that flirts with being a polemic at certain points, and it's a movie that flirts with being a metaphor for things at certain times. And I think that is to its detriment because it ends up being a very cerebral experience. It's a mental exercise rather than an emotional exercise. And what I was excited about a movie being buried alive, I think being buried alive is probably up there with one of my biggest fears. It is a horrifying concept when I let myself go there. And I thought that's what this movie was gonna be, and it's not at all. This movie isn't scary. And it's not, and I thought it was gonna be. And I thought that I would feel that tension and that trapped feeling. And it's not that at all. It gets caught up in being sort of a thinking man's thriller, which I usually enjoy, but here I think it loses all of the all of
that the being buried in a coffin
that the
gives you?
concept
Yeah.
could have given them. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, a little bit of what you're saying resonates with me, but I don't know that I can disagree wholeheartedly because I was, first of all, I'm a Rodrigo Cortez, the director of the movie,
Yeah.
super fan now. I mean, I can't believe what he did. Just phenomenal filmmaking. Like I did not expect to see it the way that we saw it. He really showed us things in a very smart way. Like already you have to be a little bit gimmicky with the content, with the parameters that you're given. But what he did was very elegant. And once in a while, he did things a little bit more special that never took me out of the movie. They always made me feel what I was supposed to feel. Ryan Reynolds was spectacular, and I was thrilled. I was moved to tears at the end of the movie. But I know what you're saying, in that there is it's less of a. There are some thrills and there are some scares, so I can't totally agree with you. But it's also very much a mystery. It's not a movie that I feel like the need to see again and again, though I may watch it again to study the filmmaking. But because really a lot of it is, how did this happen?
Yeah.
How the story unravels is more interesting than the story itself.
Right.
But boy, oh boy, I couldn't believe how good it was.
I have to say, the one thing for me, because you were talking about, I mean, there's sort of only two ways that this movie can end. And
Revealies?
No. But there's
Okay.
only two ways that this movie can end, obviously, because he's in a box. And for me, I kind of felt, as the ending was ramping up, I kind of sniffed it out, and that, I think, maybe made it a little less powerful for me.
I thought the ending was the strongest moment of the movie. I wish the rest of the movie felt like that. I wanted it to be less about the figuring out and the putting together and the,
I feel like it was more about, let's be as honest as possible. Let's take our brains down the road of, you wake up in a coffin.
Right. You're with
What
him.
is it going to be?
But-
Because that actually, literally, there were times when he was like, when he first wakes up and is screaming and all that stuff, and then it's like, okay. Because at a certain point, you sort of you sort of frighten yourself out of it. At some point, you have to stop being confused. Like,
You're with him on that ride of,
exactly.
of decisions. You're like,
Yeah.
this
Exactly.
decision, that decision.
That makes
this
sense.
decision.
No, I would do
like
that. I
I
get that.
like that, but I just saw a movie called Frozen.
In the hole.
The premise of Frozen, it's another very deliciously simple premise where, three friends go on the last ride at a ski resort and they get stuck on the ski lift,
yeah.
and the place closes for the weekend and it's super cold and they're stuck 50 feet in the air on a ski lift, and what are you gonna do when everything's gone and you have to survive through the night, perhaps for 3 days? And that movie gave me more of a visceral scare, more of a, oh my God, how would I handle this situation? I feel like I'm in the situation with those guys than Buried did.
Interesting.
And I wanted that experience again with Buried. And I think that the difference is, Buried, it started being like a clockwork of, events happening to him and like him having a lot of things to do in there, which you sort of need. But there's a certain simplicity that happened in Frozen where it's like, all we've got is this, and what do we do? And they cheated because they had more than one character, so you give somebody for him to talk to, and they didn't have that here.
They didn't cheat. They did not cheat in this movie.
They give him a lot of stuff, and there's stuff that happens
right, 'cause you
inside
wanted-
the box that is a little bit like, there's a lot of stuff happens inside a box.
I want to say
Hey, it's a big box. Coffin.
There's a technique employed near the end of the movie that, for me, opened up the door for anything to happen at the end. That if that thing did not happen, I would have felt like I knew where it was going, but because that technique was employed, I was like, wow, now it can go either way. I really enjoyed that. We can't really talk about it.
No. It's not really worth talking about.
But
that specifically,
I will say, one of the performances, there is a voice in the movie. There's a few voices.
Tobolowsky?
Not Tobolowsky's. There's another voice.
Yeah.
That the performance was not up to the quality of the other performances.
That was the director.
That made me, I don't think so. But
No, I know. I looked because I was like, is that just the director?
That it actually ruined the experience for me because I wasn't sure if what he was saying on the phone was
Supposed to sound fake?
or was it just not a good performance? And in the end, I feel like the performance really took away from what I was supposed to feel.
Completely agree with you.
So
Still an experience. Definitely worth doing if you can handle that. Gird your loins.
Gird your loins. I think that's a recommendation we should always have.
I gird them every day.
Keep them girded.
I recommend it strongly. I think you're right. You can't. It's not a blanket for everyone.
I would not. I told Heather, I was like, don't.
It's just not. I don't think it's a horror movie.
No, it's not.
No, it's
And I wanted a horror
It's a
movie.
Hitchcockian.
Suspense
Here's
thriller.
I gotta say one other thing. It's a Hitchcockian thriller. Because the tone, even some of the filmmaking is gimmicky and fun in there. There's a hilarious moment. There's not a lot, but there's one hilarious moment. But that filmmaking, like there's a couple like those snap zooms in on him,
Yeah.
where it's sort of having it's terrifying in some instances and then having fun with it in other
Yeah.
places. And I think that's what makes the experience a little more tolerable
Yeah.
and special.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Gird your loins.
Jeffrey, sponsors.
If I go like this to you. One small step for man.
Square moon bounce.
Dang it! Squarespace is the perfect solution for anybody who's looking to create a blog, personal portfolio, really any kind of website.
True.
Our websites are on at alexalbrecht.com, jeffcanada.com, onecoolthingaday.com,
Bingo,
Squarespace
bango.
sites. The best thing about Squaresite is it never goes down. It is very reliable. It's super awesome. Some of the highest traffic sites on the internet are Squarespace sites.
Coolthingaday.com.
And also high
High
traffic
traffic.
sites. And the cool thing is they just updated their iPhone app, so now you can do like HTML blog coding on the go.
that's cool.
And you can also do like comment management on your
Oh, cool.
all from your phone.
Love it.
Super slick and cool. They offer 24/7 customer support.
Amazing.
It is fantastic. I recommend you use our promo code. It'll get you 10% off the lifetime of your order. So anytime you want to get a website, go to squarespace.com, use TRS when you check out, 10% off the lifetime of your order.
Amazing. Also, like we said at the end of last week's episode, Extra Life is coming up.
Yesterday's.
A 24-hour. Did I say last week?
You did. You're in an old paradigm.
I am an old paradigm. Extra Life, we're doing the 24 hours of gaming for children pediatric cancer research.
Yes.
I guess that's sort of a double entendre, right? Or not double entendre, children's pediatric cancer research?
Double entendre.
Redundant. But we're going to be gaming for 24 hours Saturday, October 16th. We're going to be live streaming the whole thing. It's for charity. Head over to tinyurl.com/extralifetrs. See how you can support the cause.
Yes.
That is it for today's episode.
Hey, dude, if you like that shirt, you can own it. Jinx.com/TRS.
Amazing.
particular one.
No, you're
I need
going
to wear
sell
it for the
right?
rest of the day.
Sweaty and sell it.
It's very sweaty.
We will see you tomorrow. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
Be sure to check out tomorrow's episode where we surprise a viewer catfish style.
You went to my school.
What did you say to me?
That's awesome.
So
Something
there
to
you go.
talk about.
Okay. He's in a relationship with Natalie, so we got to find out about that.
see.
Quick, turn around, get
saw
out
us.
of here. No,
We're
get out
made.
of here.
We
That's
got
him.
made.
That's his apartment. That's it right there. That's
Yeah,
the
with the
sliding
open
glass door.
blinds, looking out,
Sliding glass
peering,
door.
wondering, questioning. Hey, Andy Tibbs.
What?